Hi, welcome back to the Wisdom of Your Soul. I'm Janice Mary, your host, and I'm so glad that you've joined us. I have so many interesting things to talk about this morning. I just got back from a wonderful workshop with John Holland and Joe Shield. They're both very, very experienced mediums. And I went with two really good friends of mine that happen to be mediums also. And we just had a blast. We had so much fun. And, you know, when we connect into our soul energy and find our gifts, Spirit has a way of bringing people to us and opportunities to us. So I really look at this workshop as a gift to me and to help me to develop the gift of mediumship. Because when I started to connect into my soul, that was one of the things I realized that I could do, that I could feel the spirits around me and I could feel their personalities and get some information from them and let people know that they're around them still and that they're not gone, that they're fully alive. They're just in the spirit world. You know, they have a world that's similar to ours, but in spirit, you know, in some ways a lot different and a lot easier because they don't have to worry about the body, the health of the body. They have no body concerns. What does my body look like? What does my body feel like? You know, when you're in spirit, you're just in your mind. And, you know, it's easier to just let go because you don't have all the concerns that we have. So when we talk about the soul and the soul being unlimited, because we all are unlimited souls, not like we're taught here that we are limited earthly beings. The soul has a completely different take on us. The soul says we are completely unlimited and we have gifts beyond we could ever imagine. So like I said, one of the gifts I have is mediumship, and I've had a lot of fun developing, but I'll be honest with you, it's not an easy thing to develop because it takes, I think, a lot of courage. Because when you sit down to do a reading for somebody, you never know if someone's going to even come. And you may have this person sitting in front of you that's in bereavement, in grief, that wants so much for you to connect to their loved ones. And, you know, the pressure to do that is pretty high, you know, and the pressure comes from wanting to be able to prove to somebody that their loved ones are around them and love them and are taking care of them and watching out for them. And that's not an easy task. That is not an easy task. So I have nothing but respect for mediums, especially mediums that are in the spotlight like that. You know, John Holland and Joe Shield that are doing these platform readings. There's no way I could do that. I mean, I can't even imagine the pressure and the toll that might take on them. There's so much that goes into mediumship. I mean, so much. It's not it's not as easy as it looks. Some mediums make it look so easy, but there's a lot of training involved and there's a lot of prep work. There's a lot that we have to do to be able to connect to the spirit world. So, you know, I always try to educate people that, you know, this is not as easy as it looks. So when my clients come in and they say, oh, I just had a reading and they were okay. You know, I think that maybe they were making it up or I think they're a fraud or a phony. I kind of tell people, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's a fraud or a phony. I think they're doing the best that they can. Some spirits honestly are not easy to talk to for whatever reason, you know, whether it's us, whether it's them, it's the communication, you know, there's no blame. It's just sometimes it's not that perfect mix. So that is something that, you know, every medium struggles with. And because most readings, I would say, can be, you know, they're not 100% because we're not, you know, a computer. We're not a machine. You know, we're going to interpret things the way we interpret things. And sometimes that may not match your interpretation. So it could feel wrong. Or we get a message and completely misinterpret the message. And so the person can feel that that's wrong. I know a lot of times I'll get initials for the spirits that have passed. And a lot of times the initials are not the spirit itself. It's someone that they're connected to that they want to talk about because there's something going on in that person's life. And then sometimes it is their name. So I never know. But what they were teaching us in this workshop is to talk to the spirit world and tell them what we like and what we don't like and what we're having problems in. So again, that communication with the spirit world, that communication, that opening up, going into the realms of the unlimited, is really, really important. So when you're in your soul energy and you open up, you're going to find you have gifts. Whether it's clairvoyance, whether you can hear things, see things, feel things, know things, whether you can feel spirits around you, you will have your own gifts. And there'll be gifts that you're comfortable with. You're not going to open up to a gift that is so scary or horrifying to you. It just doesn't happen. Mediumship, when I started realizing I could connect to the spirit world, didn't scare me not one bit because it's who I am. So if you're a psychic, it's not going to scare you. If you're an intuitive, it's not going to scare you. If you're a pet communicator, it's not going to scare you. So you don't have to worry about opening up into the spirit world like, oh no, what if my gift is this and I can't handle it? Your soul is you, and your soul knows you intimately and knows what scares you and would never, expose you to something that's going to hurt you. And that's where trust comes in. Trusting our soul, trusting spirit. And that was a big theme in the Medium Shop workshop this weekend, was trusting that spirit is there for us and trusting that spirit will give us the messages in the best way that they can. And really all we have to do is be that vessel between the spirit world and the person sitting in front of us, that we're basically the space in the straw. So if you look at a straw, we're that space. We allow the messages to come through that space to give to people that really need them. And the spirit world will bring people to us that need messages and need support. And that it just works beautifully that way. So it is something that we really work really, really hard. And doing a weekend workshop, who is going to spend a weekend learning about mediumship, except somebody that's really, really passionate about mediumship. Most people might go to the beach or do other things. But when you have a passion and you're developing something, it's almost like you can't help but want to work on it. And that's what happens when you connect to your soul energy. It's just very, very natural. It's just something that that we do. So I hope that you continue to go into your soul energy so you can feel the unlimitedness of you, so that you can feel, what is my gift? What do I have? And what do I have to share? It's really, really fascinating. It's fascinating to watch people work. It's fascinating to see people's gifts, whether it's psychic or whether it's mediumship. It's a very, very magical world, and you benefit from that world. You benefit from the wisdom, and you benefit from mostly the love. One of the mediums, Joe Scheel, is a very spiritual person, and I can tell when he connects to his soul energy. He actually wrote a whole book, which I bought. It's called The Edge of Wilderness. And this book is poems, prayers, and songs. And they're beautiful. They're just beautiful poems and prayers. And, he's expanding into his soul energy when he's writing this. It's so obvious to me, because when I do my posts, I feel it's very poetic, or I feel that it's, comes from a different place. So he really, really opens up to his soul, not only through his readings, but also through, just in general, and through his writings, and then through his artwork. When he's painting a spirit, he's opening up to his soul energy to feel, what does this person look like? What is this person that I'm communicating look like? And they're impressing on his nervous system all the things that he should draw. And it's just amazing, and it's fascinating to watch. I would highly recommend it. I would recommend it if you miss somebody in the spirit world, to try a mediumship reading. But just to try to be very, very open about it. The medium in front of you is working really, really hard for you and is really trying to do their best. So it's kind of like a co-collaborative venture that you have to also work in trying not to give too much information, but to validate for the person that yes, what you're saying is making sense without giving a lot of information, because the less information you give to your medium, the more that they can ask the spirit. You know, if you tell the medium all about your loved one, then they're not going to have a lot of evidence to tell you about them. So let the medium give you all the evidence that they can, and let the medium ask you, does this make sense? And just say yes or no, you know, and try to really search, does this make sense? You know, don't shut down if you hear something that doesn't resonate. So if a medium gets, you know, 5 or 6 things right and then one thing is wrong, you know, don't discount all the 5 or 6, because like I said, that we're not perfect. So we might get 5 or 6 pieces of information right, and then something kind of gets not heard correctly, or maybe another spirit is coming through. There could be many, many reasons. So you want to stay as open as possible when you're getting a reading. So that you can help, you know, boost the medium's energy and not lower it. So when we are getting a reading and the person's saying, no, 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 you know, that basically kind of flatlines the medium's energy. And it's all about energy. The way you can connect to the spirit world is raising your energy, and the spirits lower their energy. So it goes like that, so that we can meet in the middle to communicate. And it's not an easy thing to do. So I feel like we need a little bit more education on mediumship in general, so that mediums can feel a little bit less scared to kind of come out and do this. You know, one of the biggest things that I felt a lot of the people in the workshop were, you know, they were apprehensive and they were doubting themselves. And they didn't feel like they were good at this, or good enough to do readings, or good enough to charge for readings. And, you know, that's pretty common when you're a beginning medium, because your messages are kind of hit or miss. So you feel that way. So it's not an easy job, you know, it really isn't. So, you know, have patience and compassion and kindness towards the person that's doing the reading for you. It may seem very easy, but it's not. You need a lot of training. You need you know, working on yourself, mostly spiritually, because if your ego is in the way, whether your ego is beating you up and saying you can't do it, or your ego is saying, you know, I'm going to be the next one to have a TV show, which, you know, we saw some people doing that. Either way, that ego is either, you know, putting us down to the point that we can't function, or putting us on such a pedestal that we can't live up to that. So either way, that's not really so good when we do that. But so when we go into the soul energy, the soul will support us and calm us down and say, you know, this is going to take time. You know, these are the steps. This is what I want you to do. And they'll bring books into your lives, and they'll bring people into your lives. I have a friend also that I met through one of the circles that I was doing, one of the mediumship circles. And I had been looking for years and years and years for my own circle. And I couldn't find one. So I decided, I'll just start my own circle. And it's a beautiful thing doing your own mediumship circle, and I love doing it. But I also wanted something for me. You know, I wanted my own circle. That was my intention when I had started the mediumship circles, and I could never find one. Lo and behold, she comes in and says, you know, I go to this mediumship circle, and, you know, maybe you should think about coming. And I love it. It's a wonderful circle by another very experienced medium that can share his wisdom and guidance with us, because you need it. And mostly support. You really, really need support. It's not an easy thing to do. So having that earthly support with the mediums here, and then having that spiritual support. So what I have been doing is that also I've been calling on mediums that have passed to help guide me and help teach me. One of the books that I've been reading, Doris Stokes, if you're interested in mediumship, and she was a famous medium and a wonderful medium. And so I've been asking for her help in my mediumship to kind of guide me and help me with my messages. So you can ask specific people, even if you don't know them, to help you, because her passion for mediumship is going to be right in line with my passion for it, because that was her life. She did mediumship most of her life. So you can call on people that have passed that have similar passions as you. So if you are an artist, you can call on the art masters to help guide you and teach you. So not only can we have the support of people here, we can have the support of people passed on, and they're still there, and they're still developing their passions. So that's just another thing that we can do when we tap into our soul energy, which is just an amazing thing. So what is your passion? When you go into your soul energy, you're going to find something.